My sibling's chuckle sliced through the noise of utensils before she even spoke. "You won't mind keeping an eye on them, will you?" she asked, already shifting her attention back to her drink. The little one scrambled onto my knees, one yanking at my strands, the other dripping liquid all over my arm. The group burst into chuckles as if it was some kind of performance. Nobody glanced my way. Not as I got up for a cloth. Not as I cleaned up the mess that wasn't even mine. That evening I didn't shout or weep. I began gathering my things. They figured I'd still join the group getaway. They had no clue I'd already secured my own escape plan. Before I share what came after, let me know where you're tuning in from, just so I feel like someone's out there who gets it. And once you've caught the full tale, share what you'd have done in my shoes. I once believed the quiet in our home signaled harmony. It didn't. It signaled that another person was getting all the spotlight. Every surface held evidence. Pictures of my siblings' initial walks, her diploma ceremony, her big day. My spot in the corridor stayed empty. When her outgrown outfits didn't suit me, our mother labeled it sensible. When her awards collected grime, our father claimed it freed up room. I figured out young that my identity didn't ring out as strongly as hers. At 15, I took first place in a storywriting competition. The letter arrived by post, marked informal. I recall setting it on the counter as our mother cooked breakfast. "That's sweet, dear," she remarked, gaze fixed on the pan. Then the call came in. It was my sibling sharing news of her fresh employment opportunity. By the time our mother ended the chat, my letter had vanished beneath the shopping notes. During my school years, I served food at a diner post lectures. Most Saturdays and Sundays, my device buzzed with one contact, hers. "Could you look after the kids?" Only for a bit. That bit always turned into full evenings. Their playthings littered my space. Their dishes piled in my basin. When I mentioned Tess, she let out a breath. "You're fortunate to have spare moments." Our father's words rang out one evening when I inquired about aid for school fees. "We're still settling the celebration costs," he stated, without lifting his eyes from the news. The corner of the sheet shook a tad as he flipped it. I saw he recognized the injustice. He simply didn't bother enough to pause. It wasn't a massive disloyalty. It was countless tiny ones. Each passed-down item, each request, each subtle brush-off. A whole existence of being the simple option. I used to think keeping mum preserved the calm. But calm rooted in quiet isn't calm whatsoever. It's an obligation. And obligations eventually demand payment. It was meant to be my special meal. But the dessert already featured her children's labels. We figured it'd be enjoyable to mark everyone's day at once. Our mother explained it that way, justifying why my lights were formed like fun figures. The kids applauded. The crowd giggled. After the sweet course, our mother pushed a packet over the surface. "We have a treat," she announced. "A group outing next week. We've arranged it all." Our father bobbed his head, beaming. "You'll adore it, Emily. You'll assist with the boys so Jess can unwind at last." The space spun briefly. I caught the buzz of the cooler, the scratch of a utensil on china. Then my own tone, steady and level. "I'm skipping it." "Quiet." Jessica's grin stiffened. "What do you mean you're skipping it?" "I mean precisely that." Our mother's voice grew sharper. "Don't cause a fuss." I placed my utensil aside. The clang was gentle against the dish. "I'm not causing a fuss. I'm simply declining." Our father coughed, grumbled about appreciation. Jessica murmured, "You're incredible." I rose, easing my seat rearward gradually, the support scraping the floor. "You've taken my free days, my late hours, my tolerance. You can take the outing too, but minus me." Their words jumbled as I exited. Inquiries and blame piled on top. The entrance shut after me, softening it all. For the initial time, the hush didn't seem like penalty. Seemed like room. That evening, I fired up my computer. Travel options, lodgings. An empty input field flashing at me. My digits paused briefly, then entered a single term away. I didn't bang any entrances. I didn't have to. The hush sufficed. That evening, I positioned myself at my workstation with the lone light on. Its glow compact but reliable. My device whirred as I launched a fresh document. Expenses, housing, journeys. Each term a section, each box a move forward. I browsed carrier pages, weighing figures like committing a getaway path to memory. The pointer flashed over the term approve. Clicked it. A fresh journey, a fresh spot. identical dates as theirs. Every noise in the residence sharpened afterward. The laundry cycle humming, our father's screen blaring, our mother's conversations brimming with my siblings' amusement. I'd overhear her mention stuff like, "Emily will pitch in," and I'd envision my identity tucked into each scheme like an unrequested cloth. I ceased picking up rings, ceased offering details. During meal pauses at my job, I outputted each proof of purchase and reservation slip I created, creased them tidily, tucked them into a transparent pocket in my binder. There was something sacred in the neatness of it. Figures, schedules, records. I preserved each like evidence that my existence at last had form beyond them. A week prior to the outing, I shopped for a travel bag. The worker inquired if it was for work or fun. Neither, I replied. Liberty, she chuckled, unaware I was serious. The bag was neutral, sturdy, silent as it glided. At the residence, I spread it wide on my mattress. Item by item, I stowed light tops, creased pants, my journal, the metal container I always toted. I sealed it partway, reserving spot for something intangible yet, the sensation of departing for good. Our mother tapped on my entrance that evening. "Don't forget the sunblock," she noted, confusing my shut device for consent. I dipped my head once, observing her image in the display. Her phrases lingered in the atmosphere long after her exit. The following day, Jessica messaged, "Can you grab more treats for the kids?" I gazed at the note until it faded from view. Then I erased the conversation. No response. I began rising sooner. Strolling the neighborhood pre-shift. The atmosphere pre-dawn felt fresh and pristine. I rehearsed quiet there, sensing its heaviness in my chest. I didn't know anybody a single explanation anymore. In the dusks, I tidied my messages, opted out of all with their labels attached. I sorted my finances, halted every automatic transfer linked to joint expenses. My existence narrowed to basics: what I gained, what I retained, what I selected. Mia from the office spotted it. "You've been hushed," she commented over a brew. "Maybe I finally exhausted my justifications," I answered. She didn't probe further, and I appreciated it. 2 evenings before their departure, I positioned myself before the corridor reflector, the one bordered by the group snapshots our mother cherished. Jessica's ceremony grin gazed at me. My own image appeared unfamiliar, more serene but aged in a way. I lifted the holder, turned it downward. The gentle bump on the surface rang conclusive. Later that evening, I composed a lone message outline and stored it. "I'm heading on my own break. Have fun with yours." I didn't dispatch it yet. Just viewing it queued in my sender was sufficient to steady my heartbeat. The final night at the residence, the place hummed with anticipation. Bags piled by the entry. The kids dashed along the passage in identical caps. Our mother's tone echoed from the cooking area, reciting inventories. I remained in my space, headphones in, feigning a show view. My bag was already stashed in my vehicle's storage. At 12, I verified the journey once more on schedule. I drew one gradual inhale, switched off the glow, and allowed the shadows to rest. My device glowed once, Jessica's note. Excited for our getaway. I shut down the device without answering. That evening, I rested more soundly than in ages. Dawn arrived in the most hushed manner. The aroma of brew wafted from the cooking area, the place bustling with activity. I shifted just as softly, passing their unzipped bags, passing our mother requesting sunblock once more. I uttered only, "I'll catch up there." They grinned, preoccupied, accepting it. The ride to the hub was a haze of daybreak and road markers. I stationed at a separate area, handed over my luggage, and observed groups go by with the same weariness I'd borne for years. At my spot, I settled by the glass, viewing crafts rise like hidden truths escaping. When my section was summoned, I accessed my device, found the stored note, and pressed dispatch. "I'm heading on my own break. Have fun with yours." Then I deactivated it and slipped it into my carrier. Nobody witnessed my exit. The hub murmur was steady chatter, rolls, spots announcing figures that held no meaning for me. My group was elsewhere in the complex, managing passes, packs, and the kids. I imagined the setup without viewing it. Our mother fretting, Jessica partly reprimanding, our father attempting to seem composed. They'd assume I was stowing the vehicle, perhaps fetching a drink. For once, I enjoyed that they weren't seeking me. I proceeded to my spot, displayed my entry slip, and boarded a craft aimed the reverse way. The atmosphere carried hints of steel and reused breeze. When the strap indicator flashed, I shut my lids. The craft descended gentle and sure, abandoning the city like a pattern I'd surpassed. Hours on, my device shook the instant I reactivated it. Tons of unanswered rings, then additional notes layered like blocks. Where are you? Area C3. We're entering, Emily. Your sibling's upset. This is self-centered. Respond now. By the craft's landing, there were masses. The latest stated, you spoiled our break. I didn't access any. I joined the gradual queue to luggage retrieval. The loop spinning, the din merging into neutral hum. My neutral bag emerged, gliding toward me like an end point. I retrieved it from the strip, the heft steadying me. Outdoors, the warmth struck dense, briny, vibrant. The tropical breeze hinted at lotion and ocean plants. I registered at the lodging, inscribed my identity, and presented the slip like validation of something personal. The attendant grinned. Greetings, he offered. I dipped my head, too drained to mirror it. In my quarters, I set the bag against the barrier and perched on the mattress edge. The device hummed again. Our mother, Jessica, our father, all overwhelming the display. For an instant, the remorse throbbed swift, keen, real. Then it leveled like a swell retreating to the waves. I flipped the device downward, display hidden, and gazed at the overhead. Somewhere, my group was likely debating in a waiting zone. The kids wailing. Jessica steaming. I envisioned our mother's tone cracking when she grasped I wasn't on the following craft either. They'd label it disloyalty. I labeled it equilibrium. The following dawn, I strolled to the coast pre-dawn. The heavens were faint citrus, the waves inhaling in gradual beat. I buried my digits in the damp grains and allowed the bubbles to brush my feet. The quiet here was distinct, pure, intentional. When I eventually checked my device, the power was almost gone. The alerts merged, now unanswered rings, recordings, charges. You're unthankful. You shamed us. We relied on you. I browsed once, then pressed the display until the note chain quivered. Erase everything. The noise it produced, one soft press, was the sole answer I ever provided. I passed the remainder of the dawn roaming the stalls by the dock. Sellers yelled costs, youngsters pursued flyers. Nobody recognized my identity here, and for the first time that namelessness seemed like protection. I purchased a tiny ocean treasure from a seller. Its exterior was sleek, chill, ideal in its flaws. When I raised it to the glow, I recalled the liquid spilling over the surface back there, shade seeping into pale, and how now at last I could simply let it evaporate. That dusk, I flipped open my journal and jotted one phrase. Liberty doesn't show up with pomp. It shows up when nobody's observing your departure. Then I sealed the volume and placed it on the side stand beside the access card. Outdoors, the breeze changed, bearing distant chuckles from someplace along the shore. For a brief moment, it echoed like hers, my siblings. But it wasn't. It was merely the globe progressing as it forever does. Dawn glow poured through the slim drapes, gentle and light. The waves murmured against the edge beyond my pain, consistent and undisturbed. I prepared brew in the tiny lodging container, the scent strong and anchoring. My device rested display down on the stand, silent for a change. I didn't grab it. I carried my mug to the deck. Beneath, the shore extended vacant, save for a handful of early folks pulling seats into the grains. No kids, no tones summoning my identity, just expanse broad enough to inhale. I hadn't grasped how noisy my existence had been until it hushed. I flipped open my journal again. The phrase from the prior evening gazed back. Liberty doesn't show up with pomp. Under it I added another. It remains when you cease regretting desiring it. The tool leaked a bit on the sheet, color soaking into the strands. Seemed lasting like a vow. Later I strolled beside the tide mark, permitting the surge to wipe my tracks as I advanced. I reflected on each form of myself that had remained mute at the gathering, in the cooking space, at the border of each group image. I once thought quiet was security. Now I got that it could be shield too. By midday I gathered my items. The bag sealed with one snap, sleek and conclusive. I placed the quarters access on the workstation beside a memo for cleaners. Thanks. No comeback location, no label. The journey back was peaceful. No awaiting rings when I activated my device. Perhaps they quit attempting. Perhaps they at last trusted me. Back in the city, I didn't head to the former residence. I drove directly to my place instead. The glow there was pure, bright, clear. I unloaded gradually, creased garments, set the ocean treasure on my workstation. It shimmered softly in the midday rays, the identical hue as the bubbles that had contacted my feet that dawn. The pot sizzled on the burner. Vapor ascended slim and quiet. I dispensed the liquid, observed it twirl, then breathed out. No clamor, no regrets, just breeze occupying a spot that at last was mine. The next dawn I rose pre-dawn. The town was motionless, the breeze slightly chill on the panes. I settled at my workstation, the one lacking mounted images, no din, no echoes. My device rested next to the treasure, dim and still. For a change, nobody anticipated a thing from me. That void seemed pure. I prepared a drink, opened the pane, and tuned in. No yelling, no steps, solely gust. For years, I confused responsibility with affection and quiet with harmony. But true harmony doesn't seek approval. It simply awaits your awareness. I surveyed my compact place, the pile of volumes, the creased cover, the glow spreading over the ground. It wasn't grand, but every bit was mine. Maybe someday they'll spin the tale differently. How I departed or wrecked the outing. Let them. The facts are straightforward. I just ceased appearing at spots where I was never noticed. The pot signaled. I grinned, gradual and hushed. The quiet that ensued wasn't isolated. It was deserved. If you've ever needed to depart to discover harmony, share where did you head? And did it at last seem like liberty?